The Washington Wizards have traded for Trae Young. CJ McCollum and Corey Kispert out the door, and DC welcomes in its new point guard.
You are Locked On Wizards, your daily Washington Wizards podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
DC family, you are locked on to the Washington Wizards, where you're part of our family. We thank you for making Locked On Wizards your first listen every single day. We're part of the Locked On Podcast Network, where it's your team every day. If you are an everydayer, we appreciate you that much more. If you're new to the channel because of the news that swept the streets of the DMV, Trae Young heading to Washington, welcome to the channel. We hope you stop by and enjoy it every single day. The best Wizards coverage you can find alongside the DC sports content creating savant Abdullah Ayubi. I'm Ben Strober, and I cover the Washington Wizards for Roundtable IO. Shams Charania, as we are recording the post-game podcast, after the Wizards fall to the 76ers, we get the breaking news that Trae Young will don a Washington Wizards uniform. No draft picks involved in this trade, which is a bit surprising to me. I thought Washington would get some draft compensation as part of this deal, but nope. The deal is straight up. Washington acquires Trae Young for CJ McCollum and Corey Kispert. AB, I just need your initial reaction, my guy. I know you're hyped up right now.
We got a point guard. We got a point guard, ladies and gentlemen. We got Ice Trae in the freaking district. The last time we had a guy with box office like him, John Wall, baby. Russell Westbrook, that was a short tenure, but I mean, this is Trae Young. You don't give up any of your young guys. AJ Johnson fan club. You can sleep happily knowing that AJ Johnson's still a Wizard. I am surprised, though, Ben, that you didn't get any draft capital. I thought with the $49 million that you have to owe Trae Young, you would have to get that Cleveland first round pick that Atlanta had, but it is what it is. At the end of the day, you have a guy that's going to get fans to come to Capital One Arena, a guy that's going to evolve this Wizards development with the young guys, lobs to Alex Sarr, Bilal Coulibaly's game, Keyshawn George, Trey Johnson, Trey to Trey. Are you kidding me, Ben? This is what we're talking about. This is Will Dawkins' plan. Let him cook. And I'm going to say it one more time. I said it with the stream with Greg, or the vid that we did with Greg. Will Dawkins, with Bradley Beal's horrendous contract in probably NBA history, went from Bradley Beal to Chris Paul to Jordan Poole to CJ McCollum and now to Ice Trae Young without giving up any draft capital. Love it.
On today's show, we tell you why Washington's front office asset management was absolutely masterful throughout the process of this entire teardown, and it's what made this move possible today, and it's what makes moves in the future possible as well, because this will be an expiring deal for Washington next year as well, unless they make the decision to extend him to a new contract. We know that was part of the reporting, is that Trae Young wanted to be extended by his new team, but the Wizards don't have to do anything if they don't want to. The Wizards in 2023, when Michael Winger and Will Dawkins took over a complete dumpster fire pile of mediocrity that was left by Tommy Shepard, it started with Bradley Beal on the worst contract in NBA history. They traded him for Chris Paul, plus 6 seconds and 4 swaps. You traded Chris Paul for Jordan Poole, plus a 2030 first-round pick, and then you dump Poole's salary for CJ McCollum, and then you trade McCollum's expiring salary, and you land Trae Young. All of this moving off the worst contract in NBA history without having to give up first-round picks for it. Absolutely incredible stuff. This front office moved with incredible foresight throughout the entirety of this process, and that's what gives me confidence in the move going forward. And I'm not even hyping it up right now, the move, because I think Trae Young is the lead guard of the future for this Washington Wizards team. He might be. He might be a pivotal piece for them next year, depending on what happens. He is a $49 million player option. He will surely opt into that. He'd be crazy to turn down that money. But then it kind of becomes a prove-it year for Trae Young. If he wants to be a $50+ million player, next year he'll get an opportunity to prove he can stay healthy, to prove that he can compete on a team that's trying to increase its win total next year after your third and hopefully final year of bottoming out. It's crazy to me that this front office moved in this direction. Everybody was confused initially when the trade was made where Jordan Poole and Sadiq Bey go out the door, and you say, I don't know, you feel like you could have got more for Jordan Poole. But financial flexibility was so important to Winger and Dawkins. They talked about it ad nauseum in the pregame press conference, saying if you have that flexibility, it allows you to make a splash move like this because of the cap space you have freeing up when you have these expiring deals. There was a reason the Wizards were the only team that could have executed a deal like this, and it's because of the way the front office moved over these past couple of years. An excellent job, even though you don't get the draft picks, albeit that is a little bit disappointing to me. I really did think some draft capital might come over part of this trade. I still think this is an excellent trade for Washington to add what will be another expiring deal next year and a talented player that could help you out, help this young core develop as you move forward. I just think this was a masterful job by the front office to get to this point after starting with a terrible, mediocre roster that had Bradley Beal's contract attached to it.
They were given a god-awful hand when they first started in the district, Will Dawkins and his crew, and what they've done up till this point, how can you not be impressed? How can you not have faith in Will? Let Will cook. I think right now, it's all about the young guys now. We're ahead of schedule because I thought this was happening near the trade deadline, but hey, what we saw tonight, Trae Johnson, 20-point games. We're going to see more of that. Corey Kispert, I loved him, was a big fan of Gonzaga, had his moments here, and it was fun while it lasted. CJ McCollum gave you 40-point games, but we all know that his future was definitely not being in the district for that long. So Trae Young, and I'll say one thing, man, this was under wraps. I did not think, I joked about it like a month ago when it came out that he's going to be done in Atlanta, but I did not think that he was going to come to Washington. If you told me 3-4 years ago that Trae Young's going to be a Wizard, I think you're crazy. And this is a Trae Young who, if you look at his assists, Ben, he can dime the ball really well. And what have we been asking for so far this year, Ben? The one thing,
an honest-to-God point guard.
An honest-to-God point guard, flawed by design when we didn't have one and realized maybe we're going to draft one in Darren Peterson. But maybe Trae Young is the answer. And I know people, Ben, are going to bring up, he can't play defense. He's too short. But who cares, man? In today's NBA, if you can score the ball like him from 40 feet and can throw lobs to a young guy in Alex Sarr, sign me up.
I will say, Trae Young is the antithesis of what Winger and Dawkins have tried to establish here, which is positional size and defenders. Trae Young doesn't really provide you any of those things, but not everybody is going to fit that mold on any given championship caliber team. And I'm not saying they're going to be a championship caliber team, but they're going to be far from that still. This team has a long way to go, but you're not making any long-term commitment. You might be able to flip Trae Young again next year for more assets if somebody desperately wants him at the deadline next year because it's an expiring deal. A true contending team could definitely make a move to get Trae Young as an expiring contract. It wouldn't be that big of a commitment for a team to do. The Wizards will obviously have the financial capability to make this deal happen. You have Corey Kispert's $13 million coming off the books now. You have CJ McCollum, $34 million come off the books. The front office moved in such a way where you could make a move like this. If you would have told me in the summer of 2023 when this new front office came in, I was excited because it signified to me that this organization was going to take a new direction, take the approach that I thought was right, which was to tear things down and start from the ground up. And man, it has been a brutal and lengthy process. And you as a Wizards fan, you deserve to see this team play competitive basketball. You deserve to see a 4-time All-Star player become a desired destination guy. He wanted to play for Washington. Alex Sarr started this trend 2 years ago when he ducked the Atlanta Hawks to come to the Washington Wizards. And I also have sources that have told me from other people that know people around the league that the Washington Wizards are looked at as a respectable organization now. And I think what the front office has done throughout the entirety of this rebuild process to turn Beal essentially into Trae Young for a bag of chips, that's why they command the respect. The Wizards are becoming a real respectable organization. They still have a ways to go in terms of being legit, in terms of being competitive. But next year, you're out of your bottoming out phase. you're going to keep that draft pick this year. You're going to finish bottom 4 and try your luck again in the lottery. You haven't had your luck in the past. But if this year's your year and you get somebody like A.J. DeBonsa, you get Cameron Boozer to pair alongside Alex Sarr, there's going to be reasonable expectations for this Wizards team to be better next year, to make a real legitimate jump the way teams do in year number 4 of a rebuild. And Trae Young can be the lead guard that this Wizards team hasn't had in a long, long time. You know, the last player to average 10 or more assists in a game for the Washington Wizards was Russell Westbrook in his lone season in 2020, where he averaged 11.7 in that season. The Wizards haven't had anything close to a playmaker like that. If you get a true pass-first player like this in Trae Young, he's going to dominate the basketball a lot, but this can do wonders for a lot of your guys on this team. I know a lot of people think he's a black hole. They think he's a ball hog. They think he can't defend. I think he can make players on this team better, and I think he can really help them out next season.
As a wise man once said, Ben, I used to pray for times like this. If you were a dormant Wizards fan, welcome back. This is the first step because you landed your point guard here in Trae Young, and you're going to get a top 4 pick, knocking on every single piece of wood out there. A DeBonsa, a Caleb Wilson. That core is set. Alex Sarr is just scratching the surface. Trey Johnson just dropped 20 points tonight. I mean, this is amazing, and this was what we were talking about. Year 3 of a rebuild. There aren't any shortcuts when it comes to this organization. What Will Dawkins is trying to do, and man, it's just surreal because this is a Trae Young that led the Hawks to a 2021 Eastern Conference Finals appearance, and he didn't really have much of a supporting cast, and now he's gonna have really good teammates here in Washington. And the fact that people are saying his attitude problem, he's a black hole. Come on, man. Are you going to be saying that when he first steps foot in Capital One and is draining threes from the logo and having 8 to 9 assists a game? I do wonder, though, Ben, when it comes to his playing time for this season, how many games do you think we see him play?
I hope he sits. I hope he sits for a pretty long time because the Wizards, they need to preserve this tank. I'm going to give you more on Trae's impact and how that'll affect the ethical tank as we go forward through the rest of the year. When we come back on Locked On Wizards, Trae Young is a wizard. Let's be real. Managing your finances can feel overwhelming. Between subscriptions, you forgot about bills that keep going up, and trying to figure out where all your money actually goes each month. It's easy to feel like you are losing control, and who has time to track every transaction or hunt down hidden fees? That's where Rocket Money comes in, the personal finance app that helps you take control. It finds and cancels your unwanted subscription, monitors your spending, and helps lower your bills so you can grow your savings. I was shocked when Rocket Money showed me I was paying for my gym membership from school, from college that I forgot about. It's saving me so much money. I love how it tracks all my subscriptions and it lets me cancel them right in the app with just a few taps. No more hunting down customer service numbers. The automatic transaction categorization is a game changer. I can finally see exactly where my money is going each month. You can set up budgets and goals, get personalized insights, and receive real-time alerts for large transactions, upcoming bills, and low balances. Let Rocket Money help you reach your financial goals faster. Join at rocketmoney.com/lockedon. That's rocketmoney.com/lockedon. rocketmoney.com/lockedon. Oh my goodness, we have over 340 of you in the YouTube live stream right now. Appreciate all of you tuning into the breaking news. Trae Young to the Washington Wizards from the Atlanta Hawks. The Wizards send over CJ McCollum and Corey Kispert. If you're new to the channel because of this news, this is the best Wizards coverage you can find every single day. We are doing these type of podcasts, these type of shows, your post-game coverage. Subscribe to the channel, like the videos. We're going to be your new stop. Trae FC. Trae FC, welcome to the channel. We know there's a lot of Trae stands out there, so this is your time to shine. Now,
welcome
Trae
in.
FC,
Welcome
for everybody here, the main question becomes with this Wizards team, how do you handle the tank the rest of the season? Now, tonight was a good night for the ethical tank. The Wizards lose by 20 on the road against Philadelphia. You obviously don't have CJ and Corey playing because, well, everybody knew the writing was on the wall and that this was going to happen. And Trae Young, the same result. In fact, I think I just saw a clip of him walking off the floor because Atlanta, I think, is playing right now, which
That's
is insane to me. But I think if you're the Wizards, Trae Young's had this quad injury that has been bothering him for most of the season. He's only played in 10 games this year. Started in all 10 of those. The Hawks are 2-8 in those games he's played. The emergence of Jalen Johnson has been an important piece of that, why he has become obsolete for Atlanta. But he can be a great addition for Washington and what he brings to the table. But that needs to happen next year, because the Wizards need to finish in the bottom four. They still have a 2.5 game cushion right now with the fourth worst record in the NBA. And that's something that needs to continue, because we know that this team isn't ready in its current state. They need to try and find another superstar player in this upcoming loaded draft class. Endless possibilities of players you could get. You could find a center to pair alongside Alex Sarr. You could get a Darren Peterson, somebody that you could also pair in the backcourt at some point if Trae doesn't stick around long term. Or your AJ DeBonsa, or your Caleb Wilson. There's a lot of endless possibilities, but the Wizards will have to ensure they guarantee that they have their first-round pick this year, because it's top 8 protected. I feel like that quad injury suddenly is going to bug Trae a lot. I feel like it's going to have to bug him, and the Wizards are going to have to be cautious. They're going to have to be careful with this Trae Young injury. Let the young guys continue to play, but let guys, get some familiarity with Trae Young. Sorry, now there's going to have a backcourt of two.
That's going to be confusing, Ben. I was going to say, are we going to give one of them a nickname?
Well, we can actually talk about that in a little bit. But continuing on with the point with Trae Young, I feel like you got to find a way to manage this in a way where you could sit him enough without the NBA snooping in and putting their foot down and preventing anything. You know how the NBA has reacted to tanking this year. They're like, oh my goodness, no way the Washington Wizards are not winning games. This is ridiculous. We're going to have to punish them for that. No. Just chill. The Wizards are trying to develop their players. That's the whole plan. Continue your process trying to develop your young players, and you can get this done and be ready to go next year.
Yeah, I love it. I love everything about it. And I think for those that don't like this move, I just don't get it, Ben. What do you think the argument could be for that? Because you don't give up any of your young guys. You didn't give up draft capital. Maybe you could say, I thought we were getting that first round pick that Cleveland had, that Atlanta had. But that's not what happened. And you knew that you were moving on from CJ McCollum. You knew that Corey Kispert wasn't a player that was drafted by the Will Dawkins regime. I love it. And we'll see how Trae Young's contract situation ends up coming along down the season. But that quad injury, like you mentioned, you want to make sure that you don't win too many games, because you still want to keep that draft pick. And I hate the fact that people are still calling him out as he's not a great defender, and his size is like, come on, guys, we're already dead last in a lot of defensive rankings, and we have a rim protector like Alex Sarr, Keyshawn George, Bilal Coulibaly on the wing. I think we'll be just fine.
Yeah, I think we will be fine. We saw the proof is in the pudding. That when you don't have your veteran players out there, and Trae Young would now be included as one of those veteran players, a 27-year-old that still, I think, has plenty of solid basketball to play left in his career. Who knows I don't know if you get him at his 4-time All-Star level when he's here, but I think he can be your floor general that can help you out in a big way next year. Just imagine the possibilities of seeing Alex Sarr score the basketball with a true, pure point guard. And I'd have to pull the numbers up from cleaning the glass, so give me a minute while I pull that up. But just off the top of my head, from what I can remember the last time I checked it, Alex Sarr is assisted on a good amount of percentage points on the buckets that he does score, but he's had to work a lot harder to score down low, I think, at times than he'd have to if they had a true number one point guard. Other players, I think, would benefit from this. I think it's actually Trae Johnson. Although he'd have the ball in his hands less, and we see him getting better with the basketball in his hands, we know how good Trae Johnson can be coming off the basketball, coming off pin downs, coming off flare screens, whatever it may be. Trae Young can be the perfect facilitator to make these things happen, because he can break down a defense. He can get 2 feet in the paint, make the defense collapse, and you're going to have your shooters on the outside open, whether it's Trae Johnson, whether it's Keyshawn George, who's been one of the better catch-and-shoot three-point shooters this year, or Bilal Coulibaly, who is still a work in progress when it comes to the jump shot. You have a lot to look forward to with Trae Johnson, with Trae Young, just because of the potential as a playmaker. That's what this Wizards team needed so bad. It was the biggest deficiency on this roster, was you didn't have a pure point guard And next year, if it's really full go time for this rebuild to take the next step, get to a respectable mark, try to increase that win total, make a push for the play-in, Trae Young is the guy to do that. And I know there's going to be a lot of comments saying this is them taking shortcuts and skipping out on the rebuild. It's not. This is not the end of the rebuild because they made this move. They just acquired a contract that's going to be an expiring deal next year. They just traded away an expiring deal and Corey Kispert to get this player who will be another expiring deal next year because you had the cap space to do so. There are reasons they do these type of things. It's like not saying Trae Young is going to be a long-term option. I think he can be really beneficial in the time that he is here, AB.
Yeah, 381 people in here. Make sure you are commenting, and subscribing to the Locked On Wizards channel. Check out Strober Sports. Check out DMV Sports on Instagram. Great content. This is amazing because we just haven't broke down anything like this so far in our tenure here. The biggest thing that we've done was Cam Whitmore being traded to Washington, and now Trae Young is a Washington Wizard. Lots of things are going to happen. They play the Pelicans on Friday, and it's funny that the Hawks traded him mid-game and he walking out of the tunnel. A lot of Hawks fans, they were already done with him, and it just makes sense for both parties because, again, Trae Young just wants to go somewhere, new scenery, new environment. For the Hawks, you see that you're winning with Jalen Johnson, a young up-and-coming star, and Nickeil Alexander-Walker. And for the Wizards, Ben, I really think that this is a move that next year when you have Trae and you have that pick, that top 4 pick, and that young guy with the year 3 of Sarr, George, and Bub Carrington, you're going to be competing to get in that play-in because next year there is no asterisk of you not being able to say that we can't win anymore. You have to win next year. Ted Leonsis is probably telling Will Dawkins that I need to see results. I want to see butts in the seats, man. And a move like this, it gets you sized. If you're a Wizards fan and you're not sized right now, I don't know what to say because Trae Young is, I'll say it again, box office. He is really good, 27 years old. Has been to the Eastern Conference Finals. Guys, we haven't gone to the Eastern Conference Finals in, 50 years, Ben? Something like that. This guy is going to make a difference in the district. Just watch.
I do. And you bring up the point with the owner, Ted Leonsis, saying, you gotta get a star player here. You got to put butts in the seats. I hope it's not like that's the case. Like, I don't want meddling from ownership like we'd seen in years past. I honest to God, think this is the front office making this decision because it's go time. You can't tank. For 4 years, you eventually had to make a move to help you pick up the pieces and get your stuff together in the 4th year. Teams do not tank and bottom out for 4 years. I know people bring up the Pistons and the Sixers who spent 5 years of really bottoming out. That was not intentional. The year that the Pistons lost 28 games in a row, they were not tanking that year. That's what made it really bad. And now the Pistons got out on the other side, and they're top of the Eastern Conference right now, so shout out to them, because they finally made it out. But you look at the models of rebuilds that have been successful in a 3 to 4 year span, like the Houston Rockets, like the OKC Thunder. This is the model this organization wanted to face, and the Wizards now have gone in the trade market, like many teams do, to acquire a player to elevate their team. I love it. All right, when we come back, we continue to break down the breaking news. Trae Young is a Washington Wizard. This episode is sponsored by Betterhelp. As we roll into the new year, there's a lot of pressure to chase a new you. But sometimes it isn't about reinventing yourself. It's about feeling a little less weighed down. Therapy can help you understand what's been holding you back by giving you an outside perspective on your emotions, motivations, and relationships. That's why BetterHelp can be such a helpful place to start. Their therapists are fully licensed in the U.S. and work under a strict code of conduct. They help match you with a therapist based on your needs and preferences, so you're not doing all that legwork on your own. If the match isn't the right fit, you can switch to another therapist from their tailored recommendations at any time. BetterHelp has served over 5 million people with more than 30,000 therapists and live sessions averaging a 4.9 out of 5 rating across more than 1.7 million client reviews. BetterHelp makes it easy to get matched online with a qualified therapist. Sign up and get 10% off at betterhelp.com/NBA. That's betterhelp.com/LockedOnNBA. AB, I feel like there aren't many in the DMV as excited as you about Trae Young becoming a Washington Wizard. What do you think will be the biggest benefit for the Wizards going forward with Trae Young part of the picture here?
The offense is going to look so much more better, Ben. I mean, we've been asking for this for so long, and Trae Young, the pick and rolls with Alex Sarr, his game is going to elevate. Keyshawn George not being assigned too much on-ball duties. He's going to be able to focus solely on getting those mid-range shots and not worrying about creating his own shot as much, even though he can do that. And defensively, he'll have more energy rather than being that lead guard that we saw early on this season. Bilal Coulibaly's game, I mean, if this team's going to play fast, Trae Young can be your conductor. And Trey Johnson, Trae to Trae, that's going to be fun, Ben. We got to figure out who we giving a nickname. And I love it. We haven't had a point guard here since Westbrook when it comes to being able to play make, Ben. And the short sample size that we're going to get this season, because we don't know how many games he's going to play, there's going to be a lot of flashes. And Capital One Arena, it's going to be fun when that first game you see Trae Young. Even when he's on the bench, people are going to be watching.
I can't wait for if they have an introductory press conference for it. I can't wait to hear from Dawkins and Winger if that's a possibility. I can't wait for Friday. First of all, Derek Queen is in the building. It's a homecoming game for him against the Pelicans, so that's going to be interesting. I feel like there'll be a good amount of people there for that. But somebody had a Trae Young jersey on at the Wizards game yesterday against the Orlando Magic. How many Trae Young jerseys will be there that day? You bring up something I really like, AB. You bring up Bilal Coulibaly, and I have beat the table with this idea for so long. Bilal would be so much better on a team that has real talent around him offensively. And I know like people will talk about Trae Young and say that he's a turnstile defensively and he can't play on that side of the basketball. Fine, fair. I hear you out. I understand those concerns. That's perfectly fine. Bilal Coulibaly and Keyshawn George and Alex Sarr, those guys will have to be your anchors that will help you out on that side of the basketball. But offensively, Bilal has picked it up in the past couple days. If you have real talent around Bilal, it makes him play within the role that makes the most sense for him. I've always imagined Bilal Coulibaly being your chess piece that can actually slash to the bucket, get you buckets at the rim, that can draw contact, get to the free throw line. And also, if he gets open in the corner and you have somebody like Trae Young that can dime him, that's an opportunity for him as well. I think Bilal is going to flourish in the offense that's centered around Trae Young. You're going to see less of these reps where you have Bilal having to handle the basketball a ton by himself, because that's kind of been the weakness of his game. I really feel like Trae Young can actually unlock the most polished offensive version of Bilal Coulibaly, who's going into year number 4 next year. So reasonably, he's going to be up to 22 years old. We know what Dawkins has said. They expect Bilal to hit his prime at like 24 to 25 years old. He's going to be on the up and up, and Trae Young can definitely help out with that.
Let me ask you this, Ben. When it comes to development, Bub Carrington, do you think it, I'm not saying it will, but just to play devil's advocate, because we're talking about guys who can excel under Trae Young, do you think that could hinder his development if Trae Young is that lead guard?
Can you say that again? I cut out for a second.
No, so we were talking about how guys like Alex Sarr, Bilal are going to look great with Trae Young on the floor, but can you make the argument that it could hinder the development of a young guy like Bub Carrington?
It makes it interesting. I feel like it, in a way, it puts a little bit more pressure on him. And I think Bub can still be a really good backup guard option off the bench for this Wizards team. Kind of the role he's been playing in this year, and the way he shoots the basketball has been the revelation to his game, shooting over 40% from three. He had another pretty decent night shooting the basketball. That's big-time stuff. I think Bub legitimately can have a long-term role here as well. I don't see this necessarily hindering the development of Bub Carrington, because we kind of figured out throughout the first half of the season here is that Bub Carrington probably just isn't cut out to be a pure point guard overall, and that's okay. It's okay. Bub Carrington can be an excellent combo guard for this Wizards team. To have him play that pure, honest point guard position, that is so difficult to do. That is so difficult to learn. For Bub to attempt to do it at 20 years old and actually make some pretty solid improvements over the first half of the season here, I commend him. I give him a ton of credit. I think he's been really good throughout this process, and I really hope that he can see some great benefits from this trade as well.
We were talking about Splash Bros with Bub Carrington and Trae Johnson, because the other night they combined for 10-plus threes. But you add in Trae Young, that's the Splash Trio right there, Ben. We're going to be making it rain from Capital One Arena. I am butt-sized, Ben. I can't say it enough, because this is just a move that just gets you off your seat and think about the potential moving forward when it comes to the Wizards squad and potentially being a real threat in the Eastern Conference. You see the wins that we've been getting recently, and you see you take small steps, and this is a big step forward. I'm sized that conference. A lot of good questions are going to be asked to Will Dawkins and what went into this decision. And it's just the professionalism that went behind it, because we didn't know anything, man. We had no idea that this was happening behind closed doors. And it's exciting. Twitter, everyone's going crazy on social media. I know there's going to be a lot of people downplaying this, saying Trae Young is washed, he's not good. Just look at the stats, guys. Look, guy's 27 years old, and what really didn't. I don't think he played with the All-Star in Atlanta, Ben, right?
Yeah, no.
Nah, no. I mean, and he has potentially several All-Stars on this Wizards roster. You love it.
370 people in here right now. I think I saw 386 at one point. I think this is the most we've ever had in a live stream at one point. If you are new to the channel, subscribe right away, because if you need Wizards content, if you need your Trae Young content going forward, there's nobody that posts. There's nobody that covers this team every day quite like this channel, the Locked On Wizards podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. This is insane, AB. And as a Wizards fan, like all the Wizards fans out there, I'm speaking directly to you, heart to heart. You and I are diehard fans of this team. We're young. A lot of the people that watch this channel aren't as young as us. Some of them are the same age. Some of them are younger. We have a varying audience from all types of different age groups who have seen different levels of success for this team. You and I grew up in the John Wall era. A lot of people grew up in the Gilbert Arenas era. Some people that watch this channel, I'm thinking about you, Locked On Law, who's been a day one of the channel.
Shout out,
He saw the team win the championship in 1978. Now they haven't won 50 games since 1979. As a Wizards fan, you deserve what hopefully is coming to you in the future, a real, legitimate, contending team in the Eastern Conference that took the correct process to get here. You have a front office that reacts with foresight, that makes decisions that are intelligent, instead of making meritless decisions to trade for washed-up veterans in hopes that you make the play-in tournament or something when you're only 1 year into this. This is after 3 years of bottoming out. You see the foundation being laid. This core group of young players, they're getting better, they're flourishing, they're developing. They got to be ready to take that next step soon, and today feels like a very important night. We could look back on this a couple years from now, AB, and say, man, remember the night when the Wizards decided that they were going to become serious again. Tonight might just be the night where this organization is trying to put itself back on the map again. Make DC a basketball town once again, like it deserves to be. It's a football and basketball town, but these fans have been deprived of a good product for years. It's time that changes. This Wizards franchise is going to try to make itself a respectable organization again. They're on their way to doing it. DC, stand up right now. Stand up.
I'm assuming it was no pun intended when you said we are young, right, Ben?
No. That was I didn't even mean to do that.
I love it. I love it, Ben. Love what you said there. And again, there's all different types of Wizards fans, the variety of ages that's seen the different type of success that we've had and the lack thereof. But a step like this is a step in the right direction. And I'm just, you can't say it enough. What a job that Will Dawkins has done, because for a guy that gets so much criticism by some Wizards fans saying that this is just another Ernie Grunfeld, it's another Tommy Shepard. No, it's not. It's different this time. There isn't any more signing wash guys or giving Jan Mahimi 60+ mil or trading a young Kelly Oubre for a wash Trevor Ariza. It's different now. It's different. And getting a guy like Trae Young, I mean, Ice Trae in the district, just wait, Wizards fans, just wait.
A couple of final closing remarks as we close this.
Let's get 400 in here, man.
Almost 400 people in here. If you're a new subscriber to the channel, comment down below, and we'll go show you some love in return. Be sure to check us out at our socials as well. Make sure to follow AB, host to the DMV Sports Zone page on Instagram. The best DC sports content you can find. I mean, the Trae Young edits are going to go crazy. You can check me out on my socials at Strober Sports. Go ahead and give me a follow there. I'm tweeting nonstop about this team, posting nonstop on Instagram. So if you're new to the channel, new to social media, reach out. We don't bite. If you see us in the building,
if you see us at Wizards games, please come up to us. I love interacting with all of you guys.
Another thing that I want to bring up is a quick thank you to CJ McCollum and Corey Kispert, who depart this Wizards organization. They acted with pure class and professionalism throughout this process, especially Corey Kispert, who saw nothing but a decrepit, awful Wizards organization that he was drafted into for so many years. He continuously got better as a player, and even though he saw his playing time decrease because of these young guys that were brought in to take his spot eventually, and you knew that he might be out the door at some point, Corey Kispert did it with class. He was a instrumental piece in this Wizards team trying to develop his young players. I have so much respect for Kispert. I have so much respect for the 14-year veteran CJ McCollum, who came here. He knew that he wouldn't be here for long, but he wanted to provide impact on this team, and I think he did.
Yeah, I love Corey, and it is sad, but the NBA is a business, and you move on from him. CJ McCollum, love what we saw from him in his short tenure. I mean, that 40-point game against Detroit, it was awesome, but at the end of the day, Trae Young is a Washington Wizard, and now it's all about the young guys. Wonder how much playing time we'll see now from Jameer Watkins, Will Riley, and then Corey Kispert out of the rotation. JC, I mean, I can't lie, Ben. I was low-key kind of scared when people were saying we're going to trade Justin Champagnie. I'm like, yo, hold on, Chief. We're not doing that.
No. That wasn't going to happen. We gave up no young players in this deal, which makes it that much sweeter. Didn't get a draft pick, but at the end of the day, I think it was a great job by this front office. AB, any final words before we get out of here?
Trae Young is a Wizard, Ben. I mean, that's just crazy to say.
Just end with a fact, a statement. A statement that tells you the whole story. That's it. Trae Young is a Washington Wizard. A lot of great content to follow on this channel. Be sure to subscribe and keep it locked on to the Locked On Wizards podcast because, oh boy, we'll have a lot to talk about over the next couple of days. We thank everybody for making Locked On Wizards your first listen every single day. If today was your first listen to the channel, period, welcome. We hope you stick around. A lot of good times ahead for DC basketball. For my co-host Abdullah Ayubi, I'm Ben Strober. DC family, stand up.